Okay, let's paint a picture. Imagine this. It's a Tuesday night. Maybe it's, I don't know, 9 o'clock.
Late.
Yeah, you're the owner of a small independent hotel.
Hmm.
Or maybe a B&B. You've just pulled a 12-hour shift. Your feet are just throbbing.
No, I know that feeling.
You've dealt with a supplier who forgot the eggs for breakfast, and you're finally sitting down. Maybe with a glass of wine, just trying to decompress.
And then you hear it. The buzz.
And then your phone buzzes.
Ah,
And it's that chime. You know the one. TripAdvisor. A new review has been posted.
that sound, it triggers a very specific, almost physiological response in hospitality owners, doesn't it? It's like an immediate spike in cortisol.
It is. Your heart rate just jumps. You unlock the phone, and you're you're praying for a 5-star rave about the new Egyptian cotton sheets you just shelled out for.
Of course.
Instead, you see it. 1 star. And the headline just screams at you. Worst experience of my life. Rude staff. Do not stay here.
Oof, it's a punch to the gut. And I think for our listeners, many of whom are small business owners, this isn't just a metric on a dashboard. It feels incredibly personal.
So personal.
This business is their house, it's their livelihood, it's their identity, wrapped up in 4 walls.
And that instinct, the fight or flight response, it kicks in immediately. Your first thought is to throw the phone across the room.
Or to log in and just start typing furiously.
Exactly. You want to scream at this person who clearly didn't read the check-in instructions you sent them 3 times.
Yeah.
Or the opposite happens. You just want to curl up in a ball and ignore it, hope it gets buried.
Hope it goes away. Yeah. Or, and this is probably the most common sin we see in the industry, you panic. You go into this like damage control mode and you find that generic block of corporate text.
Oh, the template.
The dreaded template. Dear valued guest, we regret to inform you that we strive for excellence. You know the one.
Ugh. Which, as we're about to find out, is basically the equivalent of just lighting money on fire.
Yeah. It really is. It's a wasted opportunity at best. And I mean, it's active self-sabotage at worst.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're moving past that emotional reaction to bad reviews. We're going to treat them for what they actually are. A massive, massive revenue lever.
A huge opportunity.
We've combed through a fascinating, and I mean really fascinating, academic study from Emerald Publishing on what they call web care strategies. We've got the massive Hotel Manager's Handbook, which is pretty much the Bible of the industry.
It is.
And we're pulling data from the big players Expedia, TripAdvisor, and WebRes Pro.
Yeah, and we're going to cover a lot of ground today. We're going to talk about something called the service recovery paradox, which is this mind-bending concept that a mistake, if you handle it right, can be more profitable than perfection.
I love that.
We're also going to look at justice theory, which explains the deep psychology of why people write these reviews in the first place. It's not always what you think.
And this is the big one. We are going to aggressively debunked, the idea that the customer is always right and that you should always, always apologize. Because the data on apologies is actually shocking.
It's so controversial, but you just can't argue with the numbers. Apologizing in a public forum can actually hurt your future bookings.
We'll definitely get to that. It's called the apology paradox for a reason. But first, let's just frame the stakes here. Why should a busy operator, with a million things to do, actually care about crafting the perfect reply? Why not just focus on fixing the leaky faucet and let the good reviews speak for themselves?
Because the review is the hotel, at least for the person who hasn't walked through your door yet.
That's a great way to put it.
A single review, positive or negative, acts as a permanent digital billboard on the busiest highway in the world. But if we want to talk hard financials, let's do it. We've got data from WebRes Pro that puts the cost of customer acquisition at roughly 5 to, I think, 8 times the cost of retention.
Wow. Okay, so finding a brand new guest costs 5 times as much as just keeping an old one coming back.
Exactly. And other data shows that 91% of unhappy customers simply won't return. They don't complain to you, they just churn. They vanish. They go to your competitor down the street.
I just disappear.
But the real money, the real hidden opportunity, is in this thing called the service recovery paradox. This is a huge point in the Hotel Manager's Handbook. I think it's technique, #151.
I love a good paradox.
Yeah.
Okay, break this down for us. This is the idea that if I mess up your state, let's say the AC breaks in your room,
Right.
but I fix it brilliantly, you actually end up liking me more than if the AC had never broken at all.
Correct. It seems completely backwards, I know. We all assume that perfection is the goal, But think about what a perfect stay really is.
Transactional.
It's transactional. You paid for a bed, you got a bed, it's fine. It meets expectations. But there's no emotional hook there. There's no story.
Right. It's just standard. You forget about it a week later.
Yeah. Now, imagine the AC breaks. It's hot. It's Phoenix in July. You're annoyed. You're getting angry. But then the manager themselves comes up to your room personally within 5 minutes.
Okay.
They apologize sincerely. They move you to a corner suite with a view. They send up a bottle of wine and a handwritten note. Now what's happened?
Now we have a relationship. Now I know that you guys have integrity. I know that if something goes wrong, you have a safety net.
It builds incredible trust because you've seen them handle adversity. You know they have your back.
Right.
You leave that hotel and you don't tell your friends the AC broke. You tell them, wow, the service at that place is unbelievable. You completely forget the initial problem. That is the service recovery paradox.
And I feel like there's a big but coming.
There's a massive asterisk here. You only get that benefit if the recovery is executed perfectly, flawlessly. If you botch the recovery, if you're slow, if you're rude.
Then you just have a broken AC and a really, really angry guest.
A very angry guest who is now going to write an even worse review.
Okay, so that leads us directly into the psychology of the reply itself. Why do guests write these scathing one-star takedowns? Are they just venting, or are they just mean people having a bad day?
I mean, sometimes, but it's usually about something much deeper. It's about justice. The Emerald Publishing study breaks this down using a really useful psychological framework called justice theory.
Justice theory, okay.
When a guest feels they've been wronged, they feel like there's an imbalance in the universe. They paid for something, they didn't get it, the scales are off. They are writing that review to try and balance the scales.
So they're trying to restore cosmic order through a TripAdvisor review.
In a way, yes. And they look for that justice in 3 specific buckets. And if you don't fill all 3, you can still lose.
Okay, let's unpack these buckets. What's the first one?
The first is the most obvious one. It's called distributive justice. This is the basic tangible level. Did I get fair value? This is outcome justice.
So I paid $200 for the room. The room was dirty. I want $50 back.
Exactly. It's the tangible output, the compensation, the refund. It's the what I got part of the equation.
The transactional equation. I didn't get what I paid for.
Right. But here's the trap that so many businesses fall into. You can solve for distributive justice and still lose the guest forever. You can give them the $50 refund, but if you do it while rolling your eyes or if you make them fill out 3 forms to get it,
you've failed the second bucket.
You've completely failed the second and arguably more important bucket, interactional justice.
Interactional justice. That sounds like it's all about the human element.
It is 100% about the human element. This is all about how I was treated during the conflict. Was the manager empathetic? Did they show me respect? Were they kind? Did they actually listen to me? Or were they just waiting for their turn to talk?
Right.
If you throw a refund at me, but you're acting dismissive, or you make me feel like I'm being a nuisance for even bringing it up, you have failed interactional justice.
I have definitely experienced that. You get the money back, but you leave feeling small. You leave feeling disrespected, and that's what you remember.
And that feeling of disrespect, that's what fuels the 1-star review. You can fix the money, but if you break the respect, you lose. Which brings us to the third bucket, procedural justice.
Procedural. Okay, that sounds like bureaucracy, like forms and processes.
It is, but it's more about the perceived fairness of the system. Is the process itself fair and efficient? If I have a complaint, is there a clear and easy way to voice it? Or do I have to, jump through a dozen hoops just to be heard?
And this is where speed comes in, right? The timeliness of the response.
Speed is the #1 indicator of procedural justice. If I email a complaint and it takes you 3 days just to acknowledge my email, the procedure feels broken. It feels unfair.
It feels like you don't care.
Or worse, that you're just incompetent, that no one is minding the store. It signals a deeper systemic problem.
So let's talk about that speed. TripAdvisor and Expedia, they both strongly recommend this 24-hour rule. Is that a hard limit? Is it a nice to have, or is it a must have?
For any serious operator, it should be treated as a hard limit. The data shows that 24 hours is the gold standard for a public reply.
And why is that so important?
It signals to a prospective guest. And remember, we're not just talking to the complainer here, we're talking to the hundreds of people reading that review, that this hotel is on the ball. It says, if I stay here and a pipe bursts in my room at 2 a.m., they'll be responsive.
It's a proxy for competence.
Absolutely. Whereas a reply that comes 3 weeks later says, what?
It says, nobody is driving the bus. It implies that management is checked out or they're overwhelmed or they just don't care.
Exactly. And there's a really critical stat here regarding the timing of the fix itself. If you can resolve a complaint during the stay before they even check out, the data shows that retention rates hit 95%.
95%. That is a massive number.
It is the holy grail of service recovery. It's almost a perfect retention rate. But if you wait until after they leave and after they post that review online to try and fix it, retention drops to 70%.
Wow.
Even if your reply is Shakespearean in its beauty, the timing is everything.
So the battle is really won or lost in the lobby, not on the laptop 3 days later.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
The review reply is your last line of defense. It's damage control for the future.
Okay, so let's say we fail in the lobby. The review is up, it's live. We're sitting at the laptop, and we need to write the reply. This brings us to what you mentioned earlier, the most surprising and, frankly, the most controversial part of our research stack today, the apology paradox.
I love this part because it makes everyone, including me at first, really uncomfortable. It goes against everything we were ever taught in customer service training.
It makes me uncomfortable. I was raised to apologize. If you mess up, you say you're sorry. That's just being a decent human being. But the Emerald study says, don't.
The study analyzed thousands and thousands of real-world interactions and their impact on future bookings. And it found that in a web care context, so specifically in public review replies, apologizing for the failure was associated with a 4.9% decrease in future bookings.
Wait. Let's just sit with that for a second. A nearly 5% drop in business because you were polite and said, I'm sorry. How on earth do we rationalize that? That seems completely insane.
It seems counterintuitive, but you have to shift your entire perspective. You have to remember who the audience for your reply actually is.
Right, you said this before.
You are not talking to the person who left the review. You have, in all likelihood, already lost that person. You are performing for the bystanders.
The jury.
The jury. The hundreds of future guests who are scrolling through TripAdvisor at that very moment, trying to decide whether to book with you or the hotel next door.
So what happens in their minds when they see an apology?
Think about it. When you, the manager, write, "We are so sorry about the bed bugs," or "We sincerely apologize that the room was dirty," what are you actually doing from a psychological standpoint?
You're confirming the failure. You're validating their story.
You're validating the complainer's narrative. You are essentially signing a public confession. For every future reader, you've just put up a big sign that says, yes, it's true, we have dirty rooms.
So to the casual reader who's just skimming through the reviews, they see the complaint, and then they see the official response from management confirming it. Management confirms, carpet was dirty.
Precisely. It cements the failure in their mind. This goes back to something called attribution theory. By apologizing, you are taking full ownership of the flaw. You're saying, yes, this is our fault, this is who we are.
So what is the alternative? If we don't apologize, do we just argue with them? Because that feels like a terrible idea too. The study also talks about defensiveness, and usually being defensive is a really bad look.
In our personal lives, yes, it's terrible. But in this very specific data set, defensiveness, when done properly, and that's the key, was associated with a 2% increase in bookings.
An increase. Okay, we need to role play this because I can see this going horribly, horribly wrong if a listener just starts blasting guests in their replies. Give me an example of bad defensive versus good defensive.
Okay. Bad defensive is emotional. It attacks the person. It's what your gut wants you to do. For example, you are a liar. The pool is obviously open. You just didn't look properly, and that's not our fault.
Yikes. Yeah, that looks completely unhinged. That fails interactional justice in the most spectacular way possible.
Exactly. You look like a nightmare host. You've just scared away 100 potential guests.
Yeah.
Now, good defensive is about calmly and professionally correcting the public record with facts. For example, dear guest, we understand it was frustrating that the pool was unavailable at the time you wished to use it. For the benefit of our future guests, I do want to clarify that the pool was closed for just 1 hour on Tuesday morning for its mandatory weekly health and safety cleaning and was open for the remainder of your 3-day stay.
Ah, I see the difference. It's night and day. You're not attacking the guest's character. You're providing context for the jury.
You are providing what some might call alternative facts. You are signaling competence and responsibility. You're telling the future reader, this complainer is perhaps exaggerating a little. We run a tight ship here. We actually clean our pool because we care about your safety.
It's almost like you're in a courtroom. You are entering evidence for the jury to consider.
That is exactly the right mindset. You are litigating your reputation in the court of public opinion. So if a review is factually wrong, like they say there's no parking available, when they actually just parked in a clearly marked fire lane and got towed, you must correct it.
Because if you apologize,
If you apologize and say, "So sorry about the parking situation," you have just admitted to the world that you have no parking. If you defend and say, "We have a 50-car lot for our guests," though the fire lane is, of course, restricted for everyone's safety, you prove you have parking and you prove you value safety.
so the simple takeaway is apologies equal guilt. Correction equals competence.
In the cold, hard algorithm of web care, yes. And it's really important to note this doesn't mean you can never use the word sorry, but you learn to apologize for the guest's feelings, not for the alleged facts. We'll get into that specific phrasing in the templates.
Okay. Now, the study mentioned a few other things that positively correlate with bookings. Compensation and something called changing the channel.
Right. Changing the channel is huge. It's one of the most effective strategies. This is simply the act of asking the guest to take a conversation offline, to email, or to a phone call. The data shows this boosts future bookings by roughly 4.1%.
That is a really significant jump. Why is that so effective?
A couple of reasons. First, and most obviously, it stops the bleeding. You do not want a long 10-comment back-and-forth thread on Google Maps where you're arguing about the quality of the towels. It looks petty. It creates a spectacle.
Right. Nobody ever looks good in a Facebook comment war.
Exactly. Second, it signals what the city calls high ownership. It says to the world, I am a manager who is willing to deal with this personally. I'm not just going to leave a generic comment and move on. It shows you have nothing to hide and you're serious about resolution.
And what about compensation? Does offering money or a free night, does that help?
It does. Offering a tangible fix-a discount, a voucher for a future stay bumps bookings by about 2%. It signals that you are willing to solve for distributive justice. It shows you put your money where your mouth is.
But there's a catch, I'm guessing.
There is a huge asterisk here. You should never, ever, ever offer specific dollar amounts or specific compensation in the public reply.
Why not? Wouldn't that show how generous you are?
It sets a dangerous precedent. If I'm a potential guest and I see that you gave John Smith a $50 refund because his soup was cold, guess what?
My soup is going to be cold next week.
Everyone's soup is going to be cold next week.
Right.
You create a market for complaints. You'll attract people looking for a discount.
So you get, the carpet smelled a bit funny.
Yeah.
Where's my $50?
Precisely. You say, I would like to discuss how we can make this right for you in public. You negotiate the $50 in a private email.
That's very smart. Okay, let's get into the real nuts and bolts. The grammar of a perfect response. The Hotel Manager's Handbook has this very specific, very simple rule about pronouns. They call it the I versus we rule.
Ah, yes. Techniques, #181 and #182. This is probably the easiest, most powerful lever you can pull today. It requires zero budget, zero technology, just a small shift in mindset.
So break it down for us. When do we use I and when do we use we?
The rule is incredibly simple. When the news is bad or you're addressing a complaint, you use I. When the news is good or you're celebrating a success, you use we.
I for negative, we for positive. Why does that small change have such a big impact?
I signals personal accountability and ownership. If a guest says the room was dirty and you reply, we will look into it, it sounds bureaucratic. It sounds like the company or the system will get around to it eventually. It's impersonal and easy for the angry guest to dismiss.
Potassive.
Very. But if you, the manager, say, I am personally investigating this with our head of housekeeping this morning, it sounds completely different. It sounds like a real human being is taking direct responsibility.
It de-escalates the anger because now I'm not fighting a faceless corporation. I'm talking to a person.
Exactly. It creates a one-to-one connection. But then when the review is positive, let's say they write, love the breakfast, you must use we. We are thrilled you love the croissants.
Because if you say, I am glad you like the breakfast, you sound like a narcissist who did everything themselves.
Unless you personally baked every single croissant, yes. It sounds arrogant. We shares the credit with the entire team, the chefs, the servers. It shows humility and it builds team morale.
That is such a subtle shift in language, but I can immediately see how it changes the entire tone of the reply. There's another little mechanical tip in the handbook about naming names, specifically the hotel name.
Yes. This is a pure search engine optimization trick, but it's a vital one. The rule is never, ever use your hotel's full name in a negative response.
And that's because of how Google works.
It's all because of Google. Google's algorithm works by associating keywords. So if you write a reply that says, "We are so sorry you had a terrible time at the Grand Hotel," you are literally teaching the search engine to associate the phrase "the Grand Hotel" with the phrase "terrible time."
You're optimizing for your own failure. You're helping that negative review rank higher in search results.
It's digital self-harm. It's diabolical. So in a bad review, you just use generic terms like "our property," "our hotel," or "your stay with us."
You starve the negative keywords of their power.
Exactly. But in a positive review, you shout it from the rooftops. "We are so happy you chose the Grand Hotel for your anniversary celebration."
Yeah.
You want to reinforce that positive link between your brand name and words like anniversary and celebration.
Wow. That is a pro tip right there.
Okay.
Let's try to stitch all of this together. We've got the data on apologies. We've got the pronoun rules. Let's look at a framework for actually structuring the reply itself.
Deal.
WebRes Pro has a good one. The LEARN framework. It's an acronym.
Yes, this is classic hospitality training, and it's great because it gives you a roadmap. It keeps you from rambling or getting emotional. LEARN.
So walk us through it step by step.
Okay, L is for listen. Now, obviously, you're reading, not listening, but in the context of a reply, this translates to paraphrasing. This is another handbook technique, hashtag 183. Don't just say, "Thanks for the feedback."
Right.
Specifically mention the problem they raised. Say, "I read your comments regarding the street noise on the third floor and how it disturbed your sleep."
It proves you actually read the review.
Yeah.
That you're not just a bot running a script.
Exactly. It immediately shows you're engaged. Next, E is for empathize. This is crucial. You have to validate their feelings, even if you secretly dispute the facts. "I can certainly understand how frustrating it is to not get a good night's sleep when you're traveling."
So you're not admitting the street is objectively too loud. You're just admitting that their feeling of frustration is real.
You're validating the human, not the complaint. It's a key distinction. Then comes A is for apologize. But wait, we just spent 10 minutes saying don't apologize.
Right, here comes the paradox. The threading of the needle.
This is where you do it carefully. You apologize for the experience, not for the specific fault. The magic phrase is something like, "I am sorry that your stay did not meet your expectations."
The classic non-apology apology.
It is, but it works. It satisfies that social contract of apologizing without admitting legal or operational liability. It's polite but non-committal on the fact.
Got it. Okay, what's next?
R is for react. You have to state the fix. What are you actually going to do about it? This shows future guests you're proactive. We are in the process of installing new soundproof curtains on all of our city-facing rooms, with installations scheduled to be complete by next month. Action alleviates anxiety.
And finally, N.
And N is for notify. This is the internal part that the guest doesn't see, but it's the most important for the business. You have to notify your team. Log the complaint. If you don't fix the root cause of the problem, you're just going to be writing the same reply again next week.
I love frameworks. They really do keep you on track when you're feeling stressed or angry. Okay, let's make this really real. Let's do some templates. I'm going to throw 3 common scenarios at you. I'll give you the review. You give me the strategy and the reply using all these tools we've discussed.
Let's do it. Fire away.
Okay. Scenario A, the positive review, 5 stars. The comment is, "Loved the location, the breakfast was amazing, and a special shout out to Sarah at the front desk who was so helpful. This should be an easy win."
It's an easy win, but so many hotels get lazy here and just say thanks, which is a huge missed opportunity. Here's the perfect reply. 1. Start with gratitude and use we. We are absolutely thrilled to hear you had such a wonderful time with us.
Okay.
2. Do the SEO boost that you enjoyed your stay at the Grand Hotel. Get that name in there. 3. Mention the specifics. It's fantastic that you loved our breakfast spread. This shows you read it. 4. And this is the extra mile. Acknowledge the staff member by name. "I will be sure to pass your kind words on to Sarah. She will be so delighted to hear she made your stay special."
I love that because it makes the guest feel like they did a good deed for Sarah. It reinforces their positive feeling.
Exactly. And internally, you take that review and you put it up in the break room. It's a massive morale booster for the staff.
Okay, great. Next one. Scenario B, the neutral or mixed review, 3 stars. "The location was good, but the carpet in the 3rd floor hallway smelled kind of musty. Would probably stay again, but please fix that." This feels like the most common type of review. Not a total disaster, but not great either.
This is a golden opportunity. Your goal here isn't to win back the guest so much as it is to show all future guests that you actively maintain your property. You're selling your maintenance program.
Okay, how do we do it?
1. Thank them and paraphrase. Thank you for taking the time to leave a review and for highlighting the issue with the hallway carpet on the third floor. Again, be specific. 2. Use I for ownership. I have already spoken with our housekeeping manager about your feedback. 3. State the fix. And we have scheduled a deep steam clean for that entire area for tomorrow morning. 4. No groveling apology needed. You don't have to say, we're so sorry. You just have to demonstrate you're fixing it. And finally, invite them back. We hope to welcome you back soon to experience the refresh.
I like that. It's professional, it's proactive, and it's not overly emotional. You're just solving the problem.
And every future guest who reads that thinks, okay, if I find a small issue, these guys will be on it. It builds confidence.
Okay, now for the big one. Brace yourself. Scenario C, the skating review. 1 star. Absolutely disgusting. The staff was rude, the manager wouldn't help me, and the room was filthy. I will never come back, and I'll tell all my friends to avoid this dump.
Code red. This is where discipline is everything. Your emotions are screaming at you to fight back. You have to resist.
What's the playbook?
1. Address them by name if you can. It humanizes the interaction. Dear guest name. 2. High ownership with I. Start with a serious, concerned tone. I am the general manager, and I am very alarmed to read about your experience. 3. The critical pivot. Do not get into a point-by-point debate in public. Do not argue. Your only goal is to get them offline. This is certainly not the standard of service we strive for. I would like to investigate this personally and ensure it is addressed with the team. Please contact me directly at gm.email@hotel.com so I can get more details and make this right.
And that's it.
And that's it. 4. Silence. Do not mention the hotel name. Do not restate their complaints. Do not add fuel to the fire. Your job is to get them off the public stage as quickly and professionally as possible.
What if they reply back to that publicly? What if they write, what are you going to do about it? Tell me now.
You do not engage. The Emerald study is crystal clear on this. Asking for more information publicly or getting into a back-and-forth thread decreases future bookings by almost 4%.
And why is that? Why is it so negative?
It looks like you're stalling. It looks like you don't actually know who your guests are or what happened on your own property. And it puts the burden of work back on the already angry guest. You're basically saying, I complained and now I have to do data entry for you to solve it. No. Give them your direct contact info. Take the burden on yourself to solve it privately.
It's all about discipline. You have to have the discipline not to take the bait and fight back.
Emotions are very, very expensive in this business.
Okay. Now, we've been talking a lot about reviews in a general sense, but every platform is a little different, has its own quirks. Let's do a quick lightning round on some platform-specific nuances.
Let's go.
First up, the giant, Google.
Okay, with Google, the reviews are right there on Google Maps, so they're incredibly visible. But the big thing owners often forget is the Q&A feature. It sits right there on your business profile. People ask public questions like, is the pool heated? Or do you allow pets?
And the danger is that anyone can answer.
Anyone.
Yeah.
A local guide who stayed there 5 years ago might say, no, the pool isn't heated, even if you installed a brand new heater last year. You have to monitor that Q&A section like a hawk. Treat every question like a pre-stay review. Answering promptly and accurately there is pure marketing. Also, flagging spam reviews on Google is very difficult, so responding is almost always your best and only defense.
Good to know. Okay, next up, TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor has very strict rules. Number 1, no commercial links or language in your replies. You can't say, book direct with us next time for a better rate. They will see that as promotional, and they will flag it and remove your reply.
Oh, wow.
And remember, you only get 1 response per review. There are no do-overs, there are no back-and-forth threads, so you have to make that one shot count. And your ranking on their platform, your popularity index, depends very heavily on the timeliness of your response. Speed is a direct ranking factor for them.
Okay. And what about the OTAs like Booking.com and Expedia?
The holy grail with the big OTAs is utilizing their in-house feedback tools. Expedia, in particular, has tools that will automatically prompt a guest with a message during their stay. Something like, how was your check-in experience?
So you can catch problems before they fester.
You can catch a complaint, my room is cold, and fix it while they are still on the property.
Go.
You prevent the negative review from ever being written in the first place. You can convert a potential detractor into a promoter before they even check out. It's a game changer.
That is huge.
Also, as a general rule, Expedia recommends responding to about 40–50% of your reviews. You don't necessarily have to write a unique reply to every single 5-star rating that has no comment. Focus your energy on the ones with actual text, both positive and negative. Prioritize substance.
So we have the strategy, we have the templates, we know the platform rules, but how does a small hotel owner manage this day-to-day without losing their mind? We need a simple escalation workflow.
You absolutely need a system or you will burn out. I recommend a simple traffic light system.
Green, yellow, red.
As simple as that. Green light reviews are your positive ones. The workflow is write a public reply using we, share the praise with the specific staff members mentioned, and post it in the bike room. This boosts morale and reinforces good behavior. That's technique, #151 again.
Okay, makes sense. What's yellow?
Yellow light reviews are your minor complaints. The musty carpet, the slow Wi-Fi, the kettle didn't work. The workflow is write a public reply using I and stating the fix. Then, crucially, you log that specific complaint in your property management system or even just a simple spreadsheet. You have to track the trends.
That's a great point. WebCare isn't just PR, it's also free market research.
It's the best free consulting you'll ever get. If 10 different people in a month tell you the Wi-Fi in the West Wing is slow, you don't need to write better replies. You need to buy a new Wi-Fi router.
Right, and red.
Red light reviews are your serious failures. Anything involving accusations of theft, safety issues, food poisoning, bed bugs, or any kind of legal threat. The workflow here is rigid. A very short, templated public acknowledgement, the "I'm the GM, please contact me directly" reply. Then an immediate move to a private channel. And the GM or owner is notified immediately.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Get the boss on the phone right now.
Exactly. And speaking of fixing those root causes, the handbook has another great, very specific technique, #153. It tells the story of a hotel that kept getting reviews about slow check-in times because the front desk clerk was often missing.
Okay.
Management was frustrated, but by tracking the feedback, they realized the clerk was constantly having to run to the kitchen in the back to get amenities for guests, extra towels, things like that.
So the reply isn't, sorry for the wait.
The real systemic reply was that they installed a direct telephone line from the front desk to the kitchen. The clerk never had to leave their post again, and the complaints about slow check-in vanished overnight. They solved the root cause.
It's about closing the loop. You can write the best, most empathetic reply in the world, but if the shower is still cold for the next guest tomorrow, you're just spinning your wheels.
Precisely. The goal isn't just to win the argument online. The goal is to improve the actual hotel offline.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the frankly terrifying apology paradox to the I versus we grammar police. Let's try to recap the big takeaways for everyone listening.
Sure. I'd say there are 5 main things to remember. 1, speed matters. Aim for that 24-hour window. It signals you're efficient and that you care.
2,
2, watch your pronouns. Use I to take personal ownership of problems. Use we to share the glory of success with your team.
3,
3, don't just apologize. It can backfire by validating the complaint. Instead, calmly clarify the facts for future readers and explain the fix. Be politely defensive if the review is factually wrong.
4,
4, move it offline. The primary goal of a negative reply is to get out of the public eye. Use that pivot to a private channel.
and 5.
And 5, embrace the service recovery paradox. See a complaint not as a disaster, but as an opportunity to fix a problem so brilliantly that you create more loyalty than if there had never been a problem at all.
And I want to leave everyone with one final thought. We touched on it earlier, but I really, really want to emphasize this. When you are staring at that 1-star review and your blood is boiling and every fiber of your being wants to tell that guest exactly why they are wrong, just pause and remember who you are actually writing for.
You are writing for the audience. The goal is not to win the argument with the person who left the review. Frankly, you have likely already lost them for good.
That ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah.
The goal is to perform for the next 100 people who are going to read that review. You are auditioning for your future guests. And if you look reasonable, professional, and proactive in the face of criticism, you win the booking, even if that 1-star review stays up forever.
That is such a liberating mindset to adopt. You're not fighting the critic, you're wooing the crowd.
Exactly. The review is the stage, and your reply is the performance.
So here is our call to action for you today. Don't just listen to this deep dive and think that was interesting.
Yeah.
Go to your Google or TripAdvisor page right now. Find the last 3 unanswered reviews you have. Apply the I versus we technique. Draft a reply using the Learn framework. And just see how it feels to take back control of your own narrative.
Start today. Your future bookings and your sanity depend on it.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next one.